Hey guys, it's Erin from Earth Healer Movement. I'm channeling right now. Oh God. I was doing DoorDash and it took me to a location where something tragic happened a long time ago. And my ex-boss got murdered. And so I'm channeling, I feel like I needed to stop here and grieve because I couldn't come to this location. It was so hard for me for a really long time. And just to process the information that it's going to be helpful to me to do that. And also to channel a message from him. So I'm going to do that right now. And it's hard for me to even imagine that this is the location where all this happened. And it's my heart is just... It's weird. It's there's this anxiety that I get, this my heart racing and this deep breaths and things like that. When I would go in this area, it's the heaviness of that, what had happened, what had taken place, that spooked me to the core. That was so insane what happened. And I guess I was hearing to describe and tell you guys what happened. And then I'm gonna get channeled messages from him or from spirit as I'm doing that. And it's you guys, I really don't want to talk about this. It's I'm being forced to do it. To make it's not being forced. I could leave. I could not do this. But it's part of my path. It's part of a healing process to to relive the situation in your mind, to process the feelings and the emotions so you can release it and let it go. But of course, it's always going to stay with you. Those lessons or the memories are always going to stay with you. But if you feel a heaviness and this grief or this wanting to stay away from this location, wanting to just escape it, there's still something that you're holding on to that needs to be released and gotten rid of. There's something about the location of trauma, past traumas, where I was getting that even your childhood home, if you had a lot of trauma somewhere in your life, a location that reminds you of the trauma, if you go there and sit in that location, not be afraid of it, face your fear head on. I'm being called to move to a different spot where I could see the entrance of the building, because I'm in a location where it doesn't look like I remember because it's on the side. So I have to move to closer a little bit, where this whole thing, where I could see it. I don't even want to park. Oh my God. I have to park in the spot that we parked in, that he parked in. This is crazy. This is where it happened. This is where it all happened. This is the location where he died. This is the location where the murder took place. And I can't even believe I'm here right now. I can't even believe that there's a store in here. Like, they replaced his building where he was murdered. They put another store here. And of course, things change, like, you know, time moves, and like things, other people need to like work and live. Like, you don't just destroy a whole building because a murder happened. Okay, let me just like go into the whole thing, because it's probably gonna be like, I don't want it to be long, but I'm gonna try to shorten it as much as I can. But it is a long story, so I'm being told to just be comfortable. And there's like a hawk flying right here. It was like really slow moving, you know, like a shark floating in the water, like circling around. It was like right here, like on my, like, you know, not very high up in the sky, like right in down where humans, like below the tree lines, you know? Which is odd. And it's really hot right here. So I really need to make this quick. And it's closed today, and that's crazy because it happened on Memorial Day, and when it was closed on a Monday. It's 2:14 right now. I don't know like what time it happened. Okay, let me just tell you guys like what happened. Let me just tell you basically, like, he had this warehouse and he was building this magnificent business that he created. It was his own mind, his own creation, that had investors backing up, millions of dollars backing up his invention. And it was kind of like a bowling alley kind of thing, where this could be replicated across the country. Wow, I just got a message from him. He was saying like he wishes, or he wants me to, he would want me to make his dream come alive. But of course that can't happen, like, because it's just like, it's not a possibility. But that was nice to hear. That he wishes if things were different, that he would have me be the one to do it all. Okay, so it was a sport, like a new sport, and I was so excited and like on board with him for his vision and his dream. And I was really like, really putting my heart into, I was supposed to be like his right, I'm hearing right hand man, his like, he's a funny guy. He's saying like divalicious. I don't know. Like, what the heck? He told me I was like his Ferrari, that he needed to put me in the garage and wait to bring me out. Like he didn't want me doing like small jobs. Like he didn't want me working in the office, like filing paperwork and stuff like that. Because because he valued me too much. He didn't want to think of me. He didn't want to put me in a lower position. He wanted everybody to look at me like I'm like him. Like the female version of him. The entrepreneur, the vision, the one that holds the vision and maintains the vision. He's saying that's so important, to have another person be supportive and there and listen and hear you and understand your vision and be supportive, like doing what you need to do to make it happen. Like he can walk away and trust you that you're gonna be like him. Okay, because there was this one time, well, a couple times. Okay, so, oh my God, I'm just getting back into all these memories, and he's like showing me these different things. It's very hard to explain this whole entire thing. He wants me to move my car because it's like literally it's 91 degrees, which isn't that hot for this area right now, but the sun is like burning the seat. So let me just move a little bit out of the spot. He's like, thank you for parking in the spot. Because the last time I came here, like with him, or like parked to meet him, there's a shady spot right here. We parked right there. Or I did. And he's thanking me for like being there. And now I can see myself through his eyes because of this whole Earth Healer movement that I started. And that was a part of this. Like, it's a part of my training for this movement. All of my past experiences have been training for my path and what I need to do and what I need to accomplish and my business goals and dreams. Like, the entrepreneur in me was built and developed through my past experiences. Okay, so let me just like touch on some of the things like that happened. First of all, it's crazy how this all unfolded, and it was a spiritual thing, which I haven't really dove into since I've became spiritually awakened. I haven't processed all of my whole entire life, like through the detail of things. And so it blows me away now, like thinking every time I'm being shown like this was part of your development. This is part of your, like, all these different things in these past 50 years of my life, 50 plus years of my life, like these are all parts of the puzzle that are creating you and your path. It's like to develop you. Me and him had a spiritual connection where we could read each other's energy. Like, you could tell your own kind. So I'm kind of getting like this alien thing. Like, I don't know. There's talk about how like we could be like alien star seeds, like kind of like I'm getting like in vitro fertilization kind of like thing where you're born as you're a human, we are aliens to other planets. We are the aliens. So they could have come here like way back when and started humanity with their fertilization process of trying to breed us or something. Or they could have been look just like us, and we are them. Like, but I'm kind of getting like there's only a select group that are star seeds. I don't even, okay, in spirituality they do talk about star seeds, and I should go like research that more, because I don't really know about star seeds. I just know I've been told over and over and over again that like I'm a star seed, my twin is a star seed, and like I'm kind of getting this where like my boss was a star seed. Like there's certain people that when you connect with your eye contact and you can like read each other's energies, those are star seeds. Like we use our intuition, which it's also traumas too that create it, but you could be like, that's why you have those traumas, because you're developing you're amplifying your growth. That's what I got. That's cool. You're amplifying your growth process because you're having to go through and learn hard lessons. So you're able to trigger that memory of whatever, like past lives, or that's what I'm getting right now, or like get into enlightenment quicker so you can open up these portals so you can talk to these, like your homeland, kind of like ET phone home, like these telecommunications, these radio waves, like that you're able to process in your brain, these channeled messages. I keep hearing alien star seeds, and I'm hearing, yes, you are correct. Wow. I'm getting a vision of those movies where you're peeling off I'm hearing avatar body, and underneath you're like an alien, like you're a star seed. So, is it that movie Aliens? I'm hearing Sigourney Weaver. Wow. But of course, we're not like, we are humans. We are just like everybody else. But we can connect with these certain portals of our homeland because we have like I'm hearing a higher consciousness. We can tap into our higher consciousness from home. Like we have a different part, something in our DNA is changing and upgrading as we're developing through the different lessons and learning about ourselves. So when we're first like introduced into this world, we're learning at a faster. There was a dragon. Wow, there's a dragonfly like right on my car and like going around my window. I don't know. This could be like a spirit animal messenger. That could be like, I got like, that could be him. That could be Christopher in this dragonfly. Wow. Because there's literally like no bugs anywhere, like nothing flying around. It's really hot, and there was one dragonfly. My engine is hot. Like, why would a dragon? I don't know if dragonflies are attracted to heat, but I don't know why it was like hovering right where I'm looking, right over my engine, and then coming around to the side of my window like multiple times and going back. That was weird. That's like weird behavior. You know when animals are doing something weird or it's like out of the ordinary, like what are they doing? Like what is that? Now it's gone. It's like completely gone. I'm like, this is a bad angle. So weird. Okay, so this is going completely like in a different direction that I was not like. My necklace is caught in my hair. So I was just getting right now that was this distraction was like everything is meant to happen the way it's happening. There's something about my necklace and my hair. Maybe I needed to take it off for something. But I want to keep it on because it's for positive energy. Maybe that's why he's saying like that this necklace is good, that it's like protecting me from evil spirits, and that it's a way to connect to home. Oh my god. Like these crystals and everything like help us like get the radio signals like clear. That's what I'm getting. It's like, you remember the movie, I don't know if you've ever seen E.T. the movie, but he had this little like speak and spell where he would type in to like communicate with them and they would type back. But this is kind of like rubbing it, and like this is like connecting like open energy portals, like it's helping. So like with me and my twin, it's like a comforting thing, like, or I can channel messages better. It's helping. It's almost like an anxiety tool or something like that, like a fidget spinner. That's what I was just getting when I'm channeling. It calms me. Okay, so let me get back to the story. So there's a situation that happened, like how we met. So I was working in the Bay Area in California, like near the San Jose Bay Area, and I was working with this girl that ended up being my friend, but we were co-workers, and she was the event planner and I was the marketing communications specialist, and I was the web designer, the only one for this international company, which I redid the whole, remarketed, rebranded the whole company basically. And this was in a time where like computers were very new-ish, and they were slow, and like people were trying to figure everything out and like improve everything. So I was like one of the pioneers for new technology. You had to do all these workarounds to make things happen, and I was one of those people that was like trying to figure things out and make it better and try to find tools and like educate myself to try to like, that was all part of it as well. That was all part of my grooming process. This inquisitive nature that where I'm trying to find the answers to complicated situations. and it's a curiosity, and it's a search for knowledge, like to make your life easier. So it's almost like you want to be lazy, like you don't want to work so hard, like you don't want to go through the pains and struggles and agonies of this like long, tedious work. You want a workaround. You want to use your brain so you can like find a new solution. It's like the Swiffer wet jet compared to like the old mop, you know, like you want a simpler, easier way of doing something. You don't want to spend all that time doing something. It's like I'm getting the washing machine. Like you don't want to hand wash your clothes every day. You want to you'd rather invent a washing machine because it's frustrating you so much that people are washing their clothes by hand, and it's like, can there be some simpler way of doing this? So that's where it comes from. It's like being frustrated with I'm getting the complexity of mundane tasks. That's where it comes from. That's so true. That is like how I am. But it's funny, to other people, it's like, why wouldn't you just wash your clothes? Creating a whole washing machine and everything is way more complicated and mundane and takes forever than just washing your clothes by hand every day. But to me, in my mind, I'm like, but you're doing it every single day. So you might as well build a freaking washing machine and use your mind for that. While you're washing the clothes, you're thinking like, how can I build a washing machine? How can I build a washing machine? And like thinking about that every day and everywhere you go, you're thinking about the washing machine idea. And then eventually, like, all the pieces of the puzzle come together for this washing machine idea. And then you can create it and make everybody happy. And so nobody has to do that anymore. And it satisfies like this like soul desire within you, where you feel satisfied with yourself and with the world and with everyone. And you feel so good. It's like, I'm hearing hot fudge sundae. I don't even eat those. So that's literally crazy. I'm getting like Christopher likes hot fudge sundaes. Christopher is the name of my ex-boss. Okay, that was weird. I just got a message like he had a crush on me, and that was true, but it's not something I was gonna like talk about. But I like didn't, want to be with him. It was like a friendship type of relationship. It wasn't anything more than that. But there was like flirting, but it was just for fun. It was like making jokes and stuff like that. And like, it was literally like, just, I don't know. Okay, if you know, like those, it's like having fun with life and not taking it so seriously and just like making fun of things that like kind of get you through tough situations and make like bonding with your coworkers and stuff, So don't judge. Okay, so I was working in the Bay Area with my friend who became my best friend, And I was married at the time, and she was married at the time. So we went to Las Vegas with our husbands on this work trip because she was the event planner. And she just said, "Oh, do you guys want to go?" Or like, I don't know how that happened, but we ended up going, not for work, but just like to hang out with them when they were free, her and her husband, because she was working the event. And we were just there like to go if there was a party, or like going, just, hanging out together in her free time, like going to the pool and just going to shows and shopping or whatever. It was just fun. And then I ended up, like, because I'm such a nice person, I was waiting for her for, like, she was supposed to set up for an event and we had to go to a show. And so I showed up to her event while she was setting up, which it was my company as well. It was like international company with distributors for these nutritional supplement products. And she was like doing the name tags, like sitting at, there was tables set up where workers were like handing out name tags for people, because these distributors, these salespeople were coming to these events to get, they either won the event like as a reward for their good hard work, or they paid to go there because they wanted like to develop their skills at a higher level. So there was these, to meet everybody, all the executives in the company, to meet like the owner, the CEO, the doctors, the nutritional experts, and to talk to them and ask them about the products and like questions, or to do their testimonials, share their success stories and the way that the products changed their lives, and how the business changed their families' lives and made their lives better. Because like for instance, they had an office or like a big part of their company was in the Philippines, and they were able to make income for their family, completely change their lives, be able to vacation, go on these yearly trips that they earned through the company. And they were able to like lose weight or become healthy, buy cars and boats and things that they would have never imagined, have like nicer homes and all this stuff because of this company. And so they were so thankful and grateful, and they wanted to go to these events to network and meet the other people and like share stories and all this stuff. So I'm getting all of this right now. I never really looked at it in this way. Like, I have a completely different perspective now that I'm like building one of these companies. Like, that's what I'm getting as I'm talking about this, that Christopher is making me relate that business to me and what I'm doing, to relate that business and his business to what I'm doing now, and that it was all in preparation for me. It's like passing the baton, like, because he's showing me, like, when I left the company, the nutritional company, it went away. It disappeared. It closed down. And when I went away from his business, it closed down. Like, he died. That's what he's showing me. And it's like passing the baton. It's like, now it's my turn. Like, the reason why they were even there was because of me. It's like God set it up that way. Oh my God. You expect to just like talk about a situation, and then there's all these other things that come up as I'm talking, and I knew that was gonna happen, but it's just a trip when you're doing it, what comes out. Okay, so what happened is I was passing out name tags at this event to help her, to have it go faster, because there was a long line of people waiting for their name tags. And so I think she asked me, or I said, do you want me to help? And then she asked me to like pass name tags out. So I went over the table and I passed the name tag out to Christopher. He was a distributor for that company who I don't know where he lived. I think it was LA. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think it was LA. But I knew about him because she told me about him, that he was a really, okay, this is crazy. So I was the person putting like the magazines together, like the newsletters, the recognition on the websites, everything. Like I was taking these monthly and weekly newsletters and magazines and transforming them into web pages. And I was also writing articles, and I was creating graphics of all the pictures, of everybody's pictures, and like working diligently on everybody's names, making sure that the names were, you know, the capital letters, the, you know, the right, the fonts, and like the sizing of everything. So I was going meticulously into all the details, making sure everything was right. So of course I'm seeing these images and these pictures of these people, and I'm putting their, like, the main salespeople, the one that were like the top salespeople, their pictures were bigger because there's only a few of them. So I'm like spacing everything to fit into the layout of the magazine or the website. And so I'm really seeing these names and these pictures of who these people are day in and day out, like as I'm doing this year after year. I was there for like four years or 4.5 years, and I know who the top salespeople are. I've seen the names, and I know, and I heard, you know, conversations happening, and like I didn't meet the people until this event that I went to. And so it was not too long after that I left the company. So I passed the name tag to him, and I was very like happy and like excited to be on this vacation, and I was wearing this outfit that I liked, and I was like, I didn't go very many places like that, so I was very excited and happy about the whole thing. I was with my friend, and like just like things were going so well in my life. And yeah, so it was like a special time. So I was very like, I'm sure I was like smiling and happy like I am now, like just like full of love and light, and I stood out to him. Like he remembered me. Like he remembered, like I stood out from the crowd, from what I was wearing. He remembered what I was wearing. So, okay. So I didn't really remember him, but I knew who he was because I knew he was a top salesperson, and I knew like certain products that he was selling and that he was doing so good, and he had a huge team and all this stuff, right? I knew he was a major distributor, successful. and that he was very like dedicated to being a successful person. Like he was very motivated and driven and like achieving success, achieving results that he wanted. So fast forward like maybe 5 years after that, I don't know how long it was, but a lot had transpired in that time where I moved to Northern California, which is like 300 miles from where I was before. And I was divorced. I divorced my ex-husband because that was a bad relationship. I had 2 more kids and then divorced. And then, so I was a single parent with 3 kids, really struggling, like really bad. And I felt like my whole world crumbled down, and I was trying to rebuild out of this, getting out of the rubble, basically, at this time. And I was still going through a lot of things. That time period was so, I'm getting mystically insane. It was mystically insane. That's a good representation for that. So I was searching on Craigslist for a job because I wanted to balance like work with raising my children and finding something that was right for me where I could still feel like myself again, like, or get back to myself, all my hopes and dreams, and like really make moves to be successful in life, like what I always had wanted for myself, and get back on track, I'm hearing. So that's what I put on the title for the message that I did earlier today. That's crazy. Okay, so this is like a part 2 to that message, like kind of, but not really. It's the same day, same outfit. Okay, so let me just try to wrap this thing up. Confirmation. So the crazy thing is when I moved to this area that I didn't know anybody in this area in Northern California other than my friend who moved here first. She was the events planner, and I went with her to like pick out her house and like preview the area with her, and I checked it out and I fell in love with it and I wanted to move here. My husband at the time didn't want to move here, so we came like a year or 2 after she did. And then we were friends like we were both pregnant at the same time, had our kids like only a few weeks apart, and the whole process of that, and like the baby showers and the doing your baby's room and like shopping together and all this stuff, and like sharing the experiences together, we learned a lot more about each other. We were very close friends, but she took advantage of my kindness as a weakness, and everything crumbled because she was taking it for granted, and like I'm supposed to do everything I was doing for her, and I was supposed to be at her beck and call, and like treating me like less than her. So that relationship completely fell off, and I distanced myself from her because I can feel people's energies, and I felt this like shift of like her trying to control me, like I'm not doing what she wanted me to do, like answering her calls. She yelled at me and screamed, like she went off on me on a voicemail, not to my face, and like so upset with me. She was like basically like stalking me, like a girlfriend gone mad, like when I broke up with her, or like or I was like not giving her as much of attention, so she like went ballistic. And then there was no like recovering after that, because it was like, and then I felt like I knew how guys felt because of that situation. I was like, oh my God. She was completely taking things wrong and like making stuff up in her head that wasn't even true, and like trying to force me to do stuff that I don't want to do. And like, I'm not your puppet. Okay, so if you want to hear about this Pinocchio reference came up in a couple of my videos, that you could go check those out. Okay, so these messages are all sequenced together to build the story and to let you guys know like where this all is going and how to participate and how to like change your life. It's basically like a like I was hearing seminar, but it's like how to become a great leader and a great person and change your life. It's basically like motivational speeches that can transform you into the person that you need to be successful. And you're also serving God at the same time. You're like a disciple. So that's what these are like. So if you haven't seen these messages before, it's like God is saying, I'm like Jesus. Like I'm trying to be the shepherd and like have people follow me into this, I'm hearing enlightenment, this, and the new world order. That's what I just heard. So it's like crazy to me when I hear those things. It's like confirmation of the previous videos, like just like, yes, you're going in the right direction, like keep going. Okay, so back to the story. So when I was like at my lowest, like trying to find a job on Craigslist, and that's like literally like, I'm hearing the bottom of the barrel for like trying to find a job at that time or any time. But I was like trying to like find something, because I wasn't having good luck with the job search at that time because of my I don't know, there's just all kinds of things. Like I have too much qualification. I don't have enough, like there's just like, you're not in the right field. Like there's just all these different things. What's wrong with or why did you stop working? And like all this stuff. Like, you know, I had kids. I had 3 kids. I had a divorce. I had like all this stuff going on. And then references and all this stuff. Like, it was just a lot for me. That guy kind of looked like one of the workers that, I don't know. I just got a weird feeling. There's a guy pulling up and it just had a weird feeling. But I think it's just, he just thought that they were open today and they're not. What is today? I think they're just closed every Monday. It's not like a holiday. I was just thinking, like, is today a holiday? But no. It's the 24th of July. I'm hearing 76, like, and getting the gas station, and then the America, like, freedom. I'm getting, like, the American flag with the 76 on it. I'm gonna have to go. I'm hearing 1776. Is that when America, or 14, I don't know. 1476? I don't know. I'm gonna have to, like, I think I'm getting the date that America was founded, like the year. I'm sure that's right. 1876? I don't know what the year was. I mean, the century or whatever. Why here in 1776? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. But that 1776 sounds right, but I don't know. So I'm like, okay, I'm hearing just move on. So the story about Christopher. So I went on Craigslist, and he was opening his company, trying to find executives and hiring all kinds of people, because he had his angel investors that he got money, he got support to move his. So he went through the development process. He already had the business plan, he already had his small core team in place. Like, it was all brand new, fresh people that were young and everything. They didn't really know. They didn't have the right mindset, but they were there. Like he had two sons. So they were there, and they were like in their early 20s. Or one might have not even been 20. He was young. And he had already started the business. Like, I'm getting sample, like it was like I'm getting precursor, like a precursor to the main event. So it was like this simulation kind of thing, like this is a small representation of the larger concept to test out, like a marketing testing out the theory of this business, like how people would feel about it, how people liked it. I can't think of the words like that I want to think of. I'm just getting these weird words. I'm getting like marketing sample representation. Oh, study case. Marketing study. Getting alloy. I have no idea what that even means. I'm getting steel, like steel alloy, the strength of it. Okay, so the testing phase, that's what I got. And then he went through the testing phase, confirmation, and then he got more money, I guess. This is what I'm hearing. And then he was able to take it to the next level. And that's where I came in on that, at that phase of the business. And so he was so excited and amped. And then when he saw me at this event that he held, a hiring event, I saw his ad on Craigslist, which is weird and random. Like, I don't even go on there and look for jobs or anything. I was like, all the jobs and stuff, I was at this phase where I was like just trying to search everywhere, because there's situations that I was in for daycare for my kids. I needed to get a job like quickly. And so I was exhausting every effort to do that, and I found his ad. And it was an event where it was like, just everybody come to this hiring event and bring your resume, and like it was like a calling, like a modeling, go see, kind of like this is happening at this time. If you know, like, this hiring event is happening at this time. If you're qualified and you want to join, come at this time. And so I went, and he immediately recognized me, and he knew who I was. Well, it came to him gradually. Oh, I know what happened. That's what happened. He had a familiar, like, he thought he knew me from somewhere, but he couldn't really figure it out. And then there was this hiring event that like whittled you down. So you had to, like, the number of people whittled down to a smaller group. And I was in the smaller group. Like, other people had been let go based on the answers to their questions, or hearing what the business was about, or something. I don't know. But yeah, there was this panel of judges. Like, he set this whole thing up. It was like American Idol, kind of like. But you're not singing. It's like you're explaining and answering these questions that he had specifically designed to read people, like psychologically read people, like who they were, what was important to them, what their goals were, and like if they were a good fit for this company. And so he was super impressed by me, and it got down to the final interviews at the same day, the same event. He had a stage set up and everything. It was in a warehouse. Was it this location? I think it was this location. I completely forgot it was this location. Was it? It was similar to this location if it wasn't this location. That was so long ago. It doesn't matter, but it's like crazy to me. Okay, so I don't think it was this, I'm not sure, but anyways, so he had a huge stage set up. He had a microphone. He was doing it like a huge event. It was in a huge warehouse, like an empty warehouse. And he had tables set up. And and judges. Like, he had the whole thing like set up so immaculately that it made me so impressed with everything, because I was in marketing. I have a degree in business administration with a concentration in marketing communications, and I worked at all these different jobs and had all these different goals and ambitions, and I could tell quality. I could tell some people, you could read people the way that they perform. So I was impressed, and I was confident in myself. Not as much as I am today, but maybe, I don't know. I can't really say, but I was his favorite, let's just put it that way. And I didn't know it at the time, but later on he told me that at this last part of the questioning, they wanted our resumes, and so they were looking at our resumes, and he realized that where he knew me from was that old company that we both worked for, where I was in the corporate office and he was the sales distributor. And we met at that Las Vegas event where I handed him his name tag. And I don't think I handed that many people name tags. It might have been 5 people. It might have been 10 people. Like, literally, it was like the short amount of time. And like, I'm thinking, like, I'm remembering right now, like, handing him his name tag, but it literally, like, wasn't special to me. It was like, I don't even really remember it, but he's showing me the vision of it right now. But I made a huge impression. I like dress kind of like different. So I remember exactly what I was wearing, and he remembered. He told me what I was wearing, and he also was saying something about my perfume, like, stood out to him. That something about my perfume and the way that I smelled, like, stood out to him. And that made an impression, like, in this job interview place. Probably not at the Vegas event, I don't know. But I remember he said that at the interview thing, that I guess other people weren't wearing, like, perfume and stuff. I don't know. But so that it showed, like, attention to detail. That's what I'm hearing right now. And the way that I was dressed and representing myself was very professional. Like, I was wearing, like, a suit, and it was a nice, like, it wasn't drab or boring. It was like, I'm hearing there was, like, flavor to my style. And he recalls that in Vegas there was the same, energy. He's saying energy. So I don't know if this is important, but I wore, like, a halter. It was a sleeveless black pantsuit that said BB, and it was, like, in rhinestones, like, across my chest. And it was like a pant, like, long pant suit, but it was like a strapless. So it was just like a flowy, casual. He's saying, like, it was perfect for the occasion. Like, it was, like, dressy and classy, but it was also Vegas style. And so it was, like, just the way that I presented myself was so on point. That's what he was saying, that I was always on point with my style, my aesthetic, and my energy. It was all in an alignment. So it's unusual. and it was different. So it's like I can't help but stand out in a crowd. That's what he's telling me right now. He's saying, like, even though you think you might blend in because you're not loud and obnoxious or boisterous like other people. I'm hearing my friend's name because she's pretty too, but in a different way. Like, it's not like a well-rounded, I don't know. Anyways, so she is very well-rounded. Like, she's an amazing person, but we're not friends anymore. Probably won't be. But that part of my life, she was so significant and special that she'll always hold a special place in my heart. She's amazing. Amazing. But that chapter is like closed. And I'm hearing that, like, there's reasons for it, and part of it is my purpose, that I'm supposed to be close the door on certain situations and move forward. It's for my growth. It's for my progression, and it's like closing a chapter. And really appreciative of the people, the chapters in your past life, not past life, this life, but certain chapters of your life that are building you up for God's purpose. It's not like you're better or anything like that. It was just like, I'm hearing stepping stone. But let's say you were a stepping stone for their path. So it's like everybody's doing this. Like, that's what I'm hearing. But this particular, like, my particular path is so huge and massive that it's different than other people. Like, there's certain magical things that are happening on such a high level that it becomes obvious to me that something's different is going on, and the people around me can see it as well. That's what I'm hearing. They just don't tell me. They don't want to feed my ego. They don't want to feed into this story that I'm telling myself, but it's obvious. That's what I'm hearing, and I know it is. Just hearing that right now, it's like, thinking about it, it has to be obvious to other people because of these crazy things. Or they just think it's crazy things because I'm crazy. I don't know. That's what they think. Okay, so, but it's synchronicities. It's like events taking place for my manifestations. And I didn't even have a manifestation written down. I was just like wanting to be more successful, like wanting to build myself and wanting to have a nice family, like kids, and like a great life. Like, it just progressed into this. Okay, so this is an hour long, so we're gonna like speed it up a little bit. But so we met at this hiring event. He hired me, and then we did different things together. Like, we went to Vegas on this like group trip, and I was looking at like aesthetics of like for the building, and like he was wanting, like the floors, the bathrooms, the like different inspirations of like building the company from the ground up. And I was like, he asked me, this was later, but he asked me what I wanted my role to be. And I said, and he wanted me to really take my time and think about it and get back to him. And I came back with quality control coordinator. So I was going to be, and he wanted me to be an executive, like a right-hand man to him, woman, and to help him with the aesthetics and beauty of the company, like to put my love and light into the business. That's what I'm hearing right now. My aesthetic, my vision, that he could tell that I was creative and business minded, business oriented, and that I was the graphic designer, the vision maker, the artist. And that our minds together could build to help realize the vision and make it beautiful and come to life beyond his expectations, beyond his vision, to use my vision in coordination with his vision, and to keep it in tracked and structured together, like so that that my vision could come into reality with, as far as the aesthetics of it. Because he was all about the mechanics. That's what I'm hearing. The actual structure of the activity, the setup of the activity, and the business side of it, the structure. So he was having me like write out like the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, and like gathering like a detail of what the business is going to need to function, what we need to purchase, and what the organization of the logistics of the time, like what needs to happen first in sequential order. And then also I was helping him with the things that were happening in the moment. So I was helping him, like, at first I was gonna do a magazine, but he scrapped that idea. Like, I kind of scrapped the idea because we didn't have he didn't want to do it because we didn't have the right budget, or it wasn't time yet. But I gave him a whole thing about that. There was a lot of stuff was happening. I think I worked there for like 6 months or something. And then just so much happened. Like, I don't want to go into everything, but I don't even want to talk about that. Things were going wrong. Things were going so right, but then things were going wrong. And he was asking for a lot. Like, he was asking for truth of everybody and authenticity of everybody. And I was the one giving the truth and authenticity, and others weren't. And there was like this jealousy and this competition and this like this kind of like cancerous mindset that was going around. And he ended up firing everybody except for like a handful of people, and I was one of the people like he kept. But he wanted me like his Ferrari to just be there until he was ready, until he opened up, like until he was ready for me to, until it was that stage where I could come back in. And so I had to leave and remove myself to find something else while I was waiting. And so, but there's these significant times and events that were important to him that he wants me to talk about. Like there was this one time where the mayor came to his grand opening, like, or no, I don't know what it was called. I'm hearing Chamber of Commerce, like there was a lot of people that came to this event. It was in the warehouse, and I was instructed or went with some, I was given like the business credit card and getting supplies for this event. And I was told to get like sparkling cider and like cups so they could do a cheers. And so I ended up doing that, and it was a very short period of time that this needed to be done. It was like literally rushing over there, because I think, I don't know, like if he came up with the idea like late or what happened. And then I ended up buying like raspberries to put in the drinks and like set it all up. Like I was like there with the table and everything, setting it all up and putting it out on the table and like making it all perfect and special. And he loved that. Like he thought that was like the best thing. Like he said, like I was like, I did it better than anybody would have done it, or he would have done it even himself, to add that special touch that made it so much better. And then he's telling me like at this other event he was late to arrive because he has so much going on. He's the main character, you know, the CEO of the company. So he needs those people, his executive team, to do what he would do or better if he wasn't there, to take his place. And that's what I was doing at this other event. I was meeting with the investors coming from South Africa, and they had flown in, and we were going to have sushi, and they were there, and I was able, his son was there as well, but his son wasn't like me. Like he didn't have what I had, like the business knowledge, the communication skills, the ambiance I'm hearing. He couldn't take control of the situation and steer everything the way that I could. So I was able to like entertain them, make small talk, like connect with them and engage with them, like ask them about like, how was your flight and how are you guys liking it here, and like keeping them entertained until he arrived at the dinner, and really engaging in, I'm hearing brilliant conversation. So there must have been, I don't remember what the conversation was. I just remember like being engaged with them, like intellectually and spiritually, and like feeling good. Like it was like creating a repertoire, creating a friendship, creating a good foundation for the future to work together. So that was what it was all about. It was like knowing how to create and out of something out of nothing. That's what I'm hearing. Like a graphic designer, like you're creating with a blank piece of paper, and then you're creating this masterpiece with your mind. So that's what he liked about me. And I never even like looked at myself like this, like from his mind, but he's just telling me. Yeah, I knew about all these things, but I'm like piecing it all together. Because I'm seeing it from his perspective, because my perspective has changed at this point in my life from back then. So it's like, it's a whole like 360, 180, whatever, 180 viewpoint. So his son was just sitting there quietly nervous, or just in his own world, like, because he's not in that mindset. He was the co-CEO. He was like supposed to be his like right-hand man, but he couldn't perform the job. That's what I'm hearing. Like he didn't have what it took to do it. He wanted to do it. He wanted him to do it, but he didn't have what it took, and that created conflict between them and me, like a jealousy towards me. That's what I heard. With other team members that were young and naive and that didn't have the business experience that I did, or that didn't have I'm hearing je ne sais quoi, that certain ability to create something out of nothing. The vision, the understanding, the psychological understanding as well of people, and how to create the vision. What it takes, what the puzzle pieces are that needed to create the vision of the business. That's pretty cool. And so it's a sad story though, because it's weird, because I hung out with his son in Vegas, like just me and him. He wanted me and his son to like hang out and get to know each other. That's part of what the whole vacation was about, was getting to know each other, like team building and bonding. And just because you put people together doesn't, if their mind frame isn't right, if they don't have the vision of the company and they aren't in the right mind space, they're not going to form together. They're not going to be bonded. They're going to like, it's going to create friction, and just because you put people together doesn't mean they're going to bond. Just put it that way. And so it created kind of like an explosion of like jealousy, competition, all these emotions, because he built this up in everybody's mind that it was this huge thing, and so there was huge stakes. Everybody had these huge expectations and understood that he was the one creating it, but there was like this fight, for this internal battle between the other coworkers fighting for their position in the company. and this backhanded manipulation of like who's better than who. I wasn't a part of it, but I was trying to stay out of it and just let him decide what he wanted to do. And when I stepped away from the situation, things went crashing down. When I wasn't there to help him and support him as a friend to talk to, he kind of spiraled out of control. He wasn't mentally strong enough to capable of making it happen. So I know because I was involved in the situation, I have a deeper understanding of what is involved in creating something out of nothing. Of course, I'm not like, I wasn't in the details of things, but I was aware of them. He let me in on details of things. And he supported me, not financially. I wasn't even paid. Like at certain points I was paid like the minimum wage or even lower. I don't even know if that's possible, but there was some like loophole with that. I don't know. But because it wasn't full time or something like that. And but he just really appreciated my dedication and what I brought to the table. And he really had high hopes and high visions. And I was creating with him. Like, he was asking me, like, what do you see? What is your vision? So he might have known that I was a spiritual person and didn't know it. We never talked about spirituality or anything. The day that he died, the day that he was murdered, let's just get to that. He had his Bible opened. I'm not sure what the verse was or the page, but I just remember, because I wasn't religious or spiritual at that time, that I didn't even ask like what was the Bible open to. And he had this whole regimen that he was working out, and he was dedicated to being healthy, eating healthy, and like reading the Bible. And there was all these things that he, getting up early in the morning, like doing all these things for the business so he could be in the right mind frame, so he can do all these things. And he was doing it, and I was so proud of him. I'm even more proud of him now thinking about it, because I have a whole different perspective on his mind frame, like what it took to be that person. Because I'm going through it right now, like where the health of your body and your mind and your spirit all needs to be in an alignment to make great things happen. And then it was Memorial Day, and he was so excited that he got this warehouse that I'm sitting in front of right now. And he showed it to me maybe like 6 months before that. Like, it was like Christmas Eve. I think he's telling me right now, like, he was very down and out, and he was very like alone and sad, feeling very lonely. and he called me to wish me like Merry Christmas. He texted me like Merry Christmas or something like that. And I responded like immediately. He's telling me, like, with respect, with deep respect, like I always had. And he invited me to the warehouse to show me his new space, where it was all going to take place, the location of where the whole thing was taking place, and the vision. He was going to show me like the vision of everything. And I was lonely at that time. I was alone on Christmas Eve. My kids had gone with their dad, and I didn't have anywhere to go, and it was like the timing of it. And he asked me if I wanted to go meet him at the warehouse so he could show me something. And I said, okay. So I met with him, and he explained his vision, and he was so inspiring, and so it sounds like me, like with this whole channel. Like that's how I sound. It's like a completely different world in his own mind. And it's inspiring and invigorating, and like he's showing me like that's how my twin feels about when I talk about my vision. And what I think and how I feel is just, he feels like how I felt back then. Like I wanted to be supportive and helpful and there for him. That's amazing. And because I never thought of things like this. And then I was so excited for him and for my part in it, and everything was so amazing. So he's showing me like that's the same thing. God was doing that. And those are the kind of things that are going to be happening for you on your journey. Just like what happened with the other company, how it was international, and it was this huge company, and that guy made that company, the owner, the CEO of the nutritional company. That was his own vision. And it was all like, it was a Christian based, they believed in God too. And so did he. And then like it's like the same type of concept, like the health and wellness and helping people, and the vision and the dedication and the routine and the everything. I'm seeing the connection of even my past friends, even the friend that I had, the girlfriend, like her family were Christians, and like the different people like in my childhood that had the similar Christian background, that I was just friends with them because we got along, and that's who I gravitated towards. But they all have this commonality, and I didn't understand that I was like them, or that God was with me as well, even though I didn't go to church, or like didn't, I did sometimes with my friends or whatever, but that wasn't, my family didn't have me doing those things. And I'm hearing that wasn't important. What was important was in my heart and soul. That I already knew the lessons. Like I didn't need to learn them. It was just confirmation to me that I was on the right track. Or when I would go there, I had more light than they did, and I could see the problems. So to me, it was actually like a bad thing, because I would go there and I would just like be like, you know, like, I'm supposed to be learning from these people and they're doing this wrong and that wrong, and I was like seeing all the bad. And like, what am I learning here? Confirmation. Because it's almost like in these like and I'm getting Disney too, and I got Disney before, like that Walt Disney was just like my boss, and that the owner of that other company, the nutrition company, and like it's these entrepreneurs with these visions, the visionary. And I'm getting Richard Branson, because he was telling me about how he was going to work with Richard Branson. And I'm getting Virgin Records, the Virgin record label. Oh, wow. I never connected this before. He's connecting me, like, I never thought of this. Okay, so I have a celebrity in my family that I've never met, but I knew about. Like, wow. Okay, so Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue is my cousin. Like, I got fourth cousin or second generation cousin. I don't even know. It's my mom's cousin. So it's my grandfather on my mom's side, his sister's grandson. So I don't know what that is, but he's Motley Crue, Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. Oh my god, my nose is itching. So he's like the bass guitarist from Motley Crue. And so he became famous, well known and famous, and a legend in his industry. And he also married a black girl, which he's an Italian guy. I'm part Italian. Oh, wait. I always thought, okay, so I think like my grandpa is not Italian. He's like white from Montana, like a kind of like Irish, German. But I think his, okay, so I think it was, okay, so her daughter, my grandpa's sister's daughter, must have married an Italian. So he was like half Italian or something. But he looked just like my mom. So I didn't really piece that together until just now. But I think she divorced his dad and then married the guy that owned the record label. I'm getting Capitol Records, or it might have been Virgin Records. I'm not sure. Now I'm getting Capitol Records, but in my mind, I was thinking that it was the same Virgin Records label, like Richard Branson. So Spirit, God, Christopher, they're trying to get me to connect these things that I have connections in the music industry, and I have celebrity connections in high places. And I remember my mom would always say, because my dad was a musician and artist, and he was trying to pursue his dreams, and he left my mom to pursue his dreams. In those days there was no like cell phone connection or like things like that. He would go on tour for like months and they wouldn't really talk to each other, and she was raising us kids and stuff. So and he wasn't acting like a family man. He was more of a free spirit, and he was experimenting with like marijuana and stuff like that, where she was like not having it at all. And his demeanor would change, and she wasn't trusting, and he wasn't responsible enough. That's what I'm hearing. And so, but she would say to us, like, telling us the story about our childhood or their relationship or whatever, she would say, like, he's not very smart, because if he would have just stayed with me and been a family man, didn't say it exactly like that, but if he would have stayed, he would have been connected to he would have had the connections that he wanted, that he was searching for, that he was going after, searching for, leaving his family, trying to find it. It would have just been there for him. He could have like met Nikki Sixx. He could have met the record label executive. He could have, that was his part of his family at that point. So it was dumb of, that's what she like was saying, like it was dumb of him to do what he was doing and leaving his family to pursue his dreams, because it would have all worked out better for him if he would have just been there with us and not tried to do all these crazy silly things to try to like go after his career. It would have come to him. So that's kind of like the God thing, like where you receive, you're getting guidance from the universe to be with your family, love with your heart, and dream, and calm down, like go through your traumas, like get ready to receive, and be aware of the opportunities around you to present themselves to give you guidance on your path, because everything was unfolding for you. You just didn't recognize it. He didn't recognize what was unfolding, that God was there with him, and he needed to be with his family. He needed to not fall into temptations of like drugs, like marijuana, or like, I'm getting like this Pinocchio story again, where it's like being tempted by these devilish energies pulling you out of your path, in these negative energies, like taking you out from your path. When your heart was guiding you on your path, you were doing the right thing, and then you got sucked out of it because you were trying to pursue your dreams. But I don't know if I'm getting through to the people on here, like, how this works. It's like God was putting you on your path to your dreams. Like, he was giving you the wife and the kids and the family that was going to make your dreams come true. That all you needed to do was relax and enjoy your life and do what you loved. Sing your heart out. Be happy. do the right thing. Love your wife, love your kids, appreciate and have gratitude for what God gave you to begin with. That was all part of your dream, your manifestation. Even if you didn't realize it was a manifestation, it was a dream, and that's the same thing. But if you have this trauma and this anxious energy and this like willing to throw away everything that God gave you, this precious woman that God put into your life and in your heart, and these kids that if you don't have heart and soul for your wife and your children, it's a different thing if you aren't in love and you're just, it's not a soul bond, it's not a godly connection. That's a completely different story. But I don't know what their relationship was. I don't know. They were together for 7 years, or married 7 years. But you have to, this goes into my first message today, the other message that I did today about, God, I just lost my train of thought, but it was like, loving and appreciating and being grateful for the things you were given. Yeah, I was talking about a relationship and how, you need to water your garden. So you need to, if you're going to be pursuing your dreams or whatever, you need to make sure your family has what they need. If you have love in your heart and you love your family so much, you're not going to neglect them, and you're going to lose, it's going to die out. It's like if you're not giving them money, giving them love, giving them support, and like building those relationships, and like I was saying before, like building that repertoire, that communication, like making them feel comfortable and secure and loved, and like when those people were coming out of the country into a new country and making them feel at ease and supported and connected, like you're seeing things from their point of view, you're comforting them and making them feel like they can trust you and that you're building together. That was great. Okay, so I'm hearing like that we can leave it there. But I just need to say like what happened to my boss. So it was very shocking to me and to everybody else that he went to this building on Memorial Day and was meeting his son. His son came, and for some reason his son got it in his head that he wanted to kill his dad. And so when they met at the warehouse, he was waiting there with a shotgun, hiding in the building. And when he walked in the door, he shot him in the head and killed him. And it's like so disturbing and crazy. I don't live in a bad area or anything. This like doesn't happen anywhere. Like, why did that happen? And they're like white people. They're like, not that that matters. Like, it's like most of those shootings are white guys. I don't know what that's all about. Insane. And I'm hearing that was like racist for me to say that, but I just wanted people to know, like, to not put race into it. Like, by me saying that, it's like showing that it could be any race, like, for you guys not to be like putting any racial things on it. That's what I meant by that. I wasn't saying it like anything other than that. I was getting like the white guy that did the mass shooting in Vegas. I don't know why that was coming into my mind. And then just like the school shootings and like all the shootings of the white men and the guns. I think they're fearful and angry. I'm getting at the system, and they're creating the problems. And there's a phone number. Oh wait. Oh no, there's like a number on this car. I thought it said 69. I just saw like 169, but oh. That's an inside thing for me, but yeah, so it's a tragic tale of an amazing human being, entrepreneur, that could have built something so great for the world. And it was gonna be international. And he had the right vision, the right everything. But it didn't come about because his son didn't have the vision. He didn't have the mindset to understand what was being created. And I know that there was another influence that got involved that changed his mindset. So you have to be strong. There's a helicopter flying right over me. So you have to be like super focused and strong and know what your intentions are and how to get there. Like the dedication, the determination, the focus. You can't get distracted by other people's opinions. You have to be firm in yourself, what you know. You can't be listening to other people's negative opinions and feeding that negativity, or else you're going to spiral out of control and lose it. And that's what happened. They arrested his son like almost a year later. It took them. They knew it was him like way before that, because they found like gunpowder like under his fingernails, and like they had his cell phone connected to the location, and they had a 911 call of him at the location, finding the body, and he was the only one there. They showed him leaving the scene and then coming back, as like discarding the weapon. And then I'm not sure if they found the weapon, but I think there was something like that where they found the weapon, and it was a trail. It was like a whole, they could piece together the whole entire thing based on the evidence. Like he didn't, I'm hearing like he didn't understand how they could link the evidence, obviously. with like cell phone towers, and like, this was a long time ago. This was like 13 years ago or something like that. So it's like he didn't understand like what type of, how important like mindset and like ability, like your experiences and your, who you are as a person, like, and your dedication and your like routine and your habits and your everything it takes to create an entrepreneur. It's not something that can just be handed to you like nepotism, like just handed over to you just because you're blood related. It takes way more than that. And your life experience, like he was only like 24. And like, how could you have murdered your dad? Like, what kind of mind frame were you in? Like, what kind of like entitlement, like what were you even thinking? That just shows how inept, like how incapable he was of running a company, and how his dad was like doing everything to keep him right there by his side and giving him everything he possibly could based on his knowledge and stuff. Like, he wasn't ready for, he didn't know better than his dad. He thought, I'm getting like, he thought he knew better than his dad, but he didn't know. He needed to be have his dad and me and like other older people that knew what they were doing be his mentors. He needed to be the apprentice, and he didn't want to be. He wanted to skip that. He just wanted the money and the fame and the fortune, and he didn't want to do the work. He didn't think he needed to. He wanted to ride the coattails of his dad. He actually ended up not getting so angry at his dad for the choices that he made and the toes that he was stepping on in his life, because like he was like me, like where you, if say, okay, like I'm getting that he like left his wife, he left his grandparents and his whole family behind. He didn't communicate with them. He didn't want relationships with them, because he told me about this too, that it was too difficult. There was too much trauma from his, like, he might have been the problem in his relationship with his wife, I don't know, in that divorce, but it was because of his childhood trauma. That's what I'm hearing. And he couldn't be around his family because of all the trauma that he endured. And he told me about that. So he was working on all his traumas. He built himself up to the position from trauma. He was in a very low position in life growing up. He didn't have mentors and like people to look up to. He went outside of his family and found those people. He did it himself. He was the generational curse breaker of his family. And he was amazing. And I looked up to him for the person who he was. But that didn't mean that I wanted to date him or be with him. I'm not the type of person that wants to be with somebody for their pain or for their money or for anything but a love connection, a soul love connection, a true love connection. That's what I wanted. And I wasn't tempted by those other things. when I was asked, when I was have people ask me out that have things like that, I say no all the time. I'm not like that type of person. I always, maybe not always, but I try to always do the right thing and be myself. I'm saying always, because I'm not going to do things that I don't want to do. Like, I would never do that unless I was confused and I didn't know the person and I just wanted to go just to see. But usually, like, I remember, like, not even going and meeting with the people. Like, just knowing from the conversation, like, just a very short conversation, that I didn't want to even go anywhere with them. And I'm feeling like, oh, sneeze. That was a huge confirmation. That, like, literally came out of nowhere. Okay. I'm hearing that I can end it off now. It's 2 hours. I'm thinking, like, if I might break this up into 2 parts, but thank you for listening. I'll probably break it up into 2 parts. And so thank you if you watched both videos. It's important to know my story so that you can learn, like, these things that you learn from others, and that there's lessons that you're getting for your life through this channel. So you are very special to God if you listen to this whole thing and you were caring and attentive and curious and believing. So God wants to thank you for that, and so do I. I'll talk to you next time. Peace, love, and light.